Football, rising to glory as the strongest post player. Episode 91. Tottenham's initial attack was patient, and the continuous tandem of attack in the middle and right won Son Heung-min a brief heads-up opportunity on the left, and the Tottenham fans in the audience became excited. Facing Li Qing, who does not have much defensive ability, Tottenham fans firmly believe that Son Heung-min may bring goals to the team in this attack. Tottenham manager Pochettino has anticipation on his eyes, in stark contrast to Klopp, worried. Players with strong offensive ability tend to be weak defensively. Klein was attracted by Ben Davies' forward, which is equivalent to saying that the burden of defending Son Heung-min fell on Li Qing. At this moment, Son Heung-min's right foot outside the instep weighted to the right front, a very obvious rib accelerated to change direction. Li Qing's body naturally approached the inside line after using the copper wall iron wall card, which is the direction in which Son Heung-min seemed to break through. The short experience brought by the copper wall iron wall card was quite rich, and he left an eye. Sure enough, Son Heung-min suddenly changed direction at the moment when Li Qing was fighting and retreating to the left rear. The inside of the instep of his right foot slammed into the football, and the football that changed its trajectory quickly rolled in the opposite direction of Li Qing's movement. Change of direction. Park Kuho, a commentator on SBS Sports TV in Stick Country, raised his voice an octave and shouted hysterically. Saying that it was too late, Li Qing's left foot suddenly exerted force, and the powerful explosive force caused his body to suffer a huge counterforce, and the not long right instep just blocked the running route of Son Heung-min's smash. Son Heung-min, whose pupils had blossomed into a victorious smile at the corners of his mouth, shrank his pupils, his smile froze on his face, and his upper body fell forward due to the resistance from his legs and the inertia of his body. Why? Son Heung-min couldn't figure it out until he fell to the ground. Is Li Qing an offensive player or a defender? Li Qing, who blocked the football with his right foot, saw that Oliver did not sound the whistle in his mouth, and directly handed the football sideways to Henderson, who had a certain space to hold the ball in the middle. Ben Davies paused when he saw that the football was passed to Henderson by Li Qing. It was this meal that made Pochettino angry. In his tactical philosophy, this situation is either to pounce on the player or to the pass point. Ben Davies is good, and he is stunned when it matters. Henderson had a wide field of vision, and he noticed that there was a large space in front of Li Qing, and he sent the ball directly to the right front without stopping. Tottenham manager Pochettino, who was standing in the visiting coach's command area, realized that something was wrong, took 2 steps forward and shouted at the players on the field, "Defend." In fact, it doesn't take Pochettino to remind him, the players on the field know what to do. Wanyama and Alderweireld both consciously pounced on Li Qing, while another centre-back Dyer and right-back Kyle Walker were affected by the forward cuts of Fast Horse Main and Roberto Firmino and chose to stick to the centre to avoid major defensive disclosures. Henderson knew that Li Qing was fast and had a large advance amount, which was just right for Li Qing's full speed chasing the ball. The fans of the main stand and the Centennial stand all suddenly came at this moment, holding their breath and watching Li Qing run at high speed. Wearing a red jersey, Li Qing was completely like a super red sports car with extreme speed, sweeping over the center line of Anfield Stadium at high speed, and the soles of his shoes carried countless grass clippings. Speed has never been Wanya, on the contrary, chasing back is still one of his weaknesses. Facing Li Qing, who is running at full speed, there is no way to do it, but to pin his defensive hopes on Alderweireld and Dale, who leans in the middle. Wanyama has a strong reading ability in the game, and observes the Liverpool players who can cover the area they can cover when they realize that they cannot catch up with Li Qing. Main is very fast, but Kyle Walker is not as fast and physically as fast as Main, and the two are neck and neck, which is equivalent to saying that Wanyama now only needs to take care of Firmino, who follows up in the middle. At the same time, Li Qing used the outer instep of his left foot to move the football to the left front during high-speed running, and his speed did not decrease to the center. Alderweireld and Dale looked at each other while standing in position, and the good tacit understanding allowed them to know what the other was going to do between the electric flint. Left back Alderweireld fought and retired, with Dale in charge of the defense. Aoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoaoa goal. Tottenham left centre-back Alderweireld has a solid frontal defense and good positional characteristics, Klopp has explained at halftime. Relying on pure technology is very difficult to beat Alderweireld. But Li Qing remembered that Alderweireld's speed was not particularly fast, and his turning speed was not fast, and he could rely on speed to eat each other raw when Ben Davies was left behind. They were still about 5 meters away from Alderweireld. He slowed down. Alderweireld fought and retreated, holding his breath, not knowing from which side Li Qing was going to break through. Until the distance was only 2 to 3 meters, Li Qing suddenly dunked the ball to the right front of his body. Alderweireld had long thought that Li Qing would eat himself raw with speed, and had long thought of how to crack it, but when he really saw Li Qing's speed, he knew why the Chelsea defender was repeatedly eaten raw by Li Qing's speed. Too fast. Can't keep up at all. Fall to the ground and put a shovel? Judging from Li Qing's explosive power between electric light and flint, 9 times out of 10, he can't tackle the ball, and even people can't touch it. Alderweireld chose very cleverly, realizing that Li Qing wanted to overtake on the outside line and chose to turn around and run in a straight line, blocking Li Qing's angle into the box as much as possible. Before the game, head coach Pochettino explained that Li Qing's habitual foot is his left foot, and accelerating to the right will definitely be buckled back, as long as he is not given the opportunity to forcibly overtake. Speaking too late, Li Qing, who dribbled the ball, changed direction. The outer instep of his left foot brought the football to the center. Alderweireld was tall and strong and inertia, and he turned to the center after Li Qing's change of direction. Dale hurriedly approached Alderweireld, not giving Li Qing a chance to forcibly break through from the middle. Li Qing did not mean to forcibly kill a bloody road from the middle. He walked the ball again with the outer instep of his left foot, and the football was close to the grass where Dale was originally located, which is equivalent to saying that he was diagonally from the right rib of the attack to the left rib of the attack. Compared to Alderweireld, Dale is slower. Coupled with the lack of position sense of the back belt for a long time, he subconsciously turned around to chase Li Qing. One speed is long, the other is slow, and who wins and loses has long had a tone. Dale watched as Li Qing opened the distance and entered the restricted area at a speed visible to the naked eye. Goalkeeper Laura saw Li Qing bring the ball to the right rib of the penalty area to defend the right rib, and held the near corner with bated breath. Li Qing's teammate, who had a wide field of vision, had not yet followed, and he pulled his leg and shot angrily about 17 meters away from the door. Dale's eyes followed the football, and he saw the fast-flying football hitting the upper edge of Alderweireld's right thigh that was blocked by the flying body, and his heart was ecstatic. Just, the next moment, the soccer ball hit Alderweireld on the upper edge of his right thigh and fell into the far goal with a distinct parabola. Li Qing's eyes were full of surprise. Is this okay? Episode 92. AOAOAOOO. Liverpool fans at Anfield saw Li Qing pick up his golden left foot with almost no pressure, and subconsciously erupted into a huge roar like a tsunami. It wasn't until the sight appeared that Alderweireld stretched his right leg that the shouting stopped abruptly. Li Qing, shoot dash. New British sports commentator Jean Xiangkai's voice was an octave higher. Alderweireld blocked. The words did not fall, and the voice turned sharply. The football hit Alderweireld's right thigh refracted dash. Tottenham fans in the audience were ecstatic, thinking that the team would inevitably be happy if it did not die, and it was not a problem to win Liverpool away. Tottenham manager Pochettino's hanging heart fell, but the heart that had just fallen for less than half a second suddenly raised its throat again. His face was frozen, and his face was full of disbelief. He saw Loris, who was holding the near corner, jerk back and jump on tiptoe, but unfortunately his raised left arm was a few centimeters shorter than the football with the strange curve. It is precisely these few centimeters that make him unreachable. Klopp, who was originally depressed, suddenly became extremely excited, because the football blocked by Alderweireld's thigh underwent a strange change, and fell into the far corner of the goal with an elusive parabola. The abrupt cries of Anfield Stadium have made a comeback, starting from the KOP diehard stands, and then to the Centennial stands and main stands. The shouts are deafening, creating a feverish home atmosphere that sweeps the entire stadium. Li Qing, who scored the goal, smiled and opened his arms to hug Firmino and Maine. Sky Britannia commentator Andy Gray's signature elongated voice bombarded fans in front of the TV again. Goo 1 dash. Guest commentator Martin Taylor exclaimed. Lee, who has only turned 16 in 3 days, scored again in the game, his 4th goal in 2 incomplete Premier League games. Incredible, refraction breaks the net. He Wei, the commentator of the 5th Celestial Empire, raised his arms and shouted, 1:1. Opportunities are left to those who are prepared. Li Qing, from breaking the ball at Sun Xingmin's feet, to refracting and breaking the goal, everything comes from his efforts. In this day of celebration for Liverpool fans, how can there be no luck? Sports commentator Jean Jun. He cheered hysterically. 15 years and 363 days. Li Qing's 4th Premier League goal. It's just his masterpiece in less than half an hour. What an unimaginable achievement. Can you imagine such a moment before the game? No. Geniuses can never be understood, and Li Qing uses his performance to interpret what is called a super genius. Klopp in the home dugout high-fived with Baksai and Kravitz in celebration, and the bench players cheered and vented the joy of equalizing. The live director gave a slow-motion replay of the goal, and Jean Jun turned around. Alderweireld's world-class defense is very in place, but he met the magical Li Qing, and the folding was very exciting. But don't forget that Li's process from breaking the ball to counterattacking is full of ornamentation, and the combination of speed, technology and shooting is a textbook. The broadcast picture was then given to the hot man Sun Xingmin, who crossed his hands at the waist and looked depressed. It stands to reason that he should have given the team the opportunity to expand the score, but he never expected that the opportunity was not created, but was equalized by Li Qing's broken ball. Park Kahao, a commentator on SBS Sports TV in baseball country, said regretfully, Son Heung-min is careless in this goal. If you calm down and seek 2-1 with your teammates, you can form a breakthrough and directly face the entire backline of Liverpool. Speaking of this, he changed his tone. Not long after the start of the second half of the game, there is still a long time left for him to perform. Come on. The players of our country are definitely better than the players produced by the countries across the sea. The game resumed, and Tottenham, who had the advantage of tee-off, slowed down the attack, and Son Heung-min, who got the football in the face of Li Qing and Klein's defense, chose to pass the ball sideways to the middle, and Eriksen reorganized the attack. Tottenham manager Pochettino shook his head, disappointed by Son Heung-min's choice. As a trustworthy player, even if you have some responsibility for the team conceding the goal, you should go forward and make up for it. However, Son Heung-min actually passed the ball back when there was a certain chance of breakthrough. Or replace him? With this thought in mind, Pochettino sighed. The team is now in a difficult situation, not much better than Liverpool in January, and there are only a limited number of players available, especially in attack. Lamela's injury has not been good, and Janssen, who transferred to the Eredivisie last summer, has been unconvinced when he came to the Premier League and has not contributed even a single sporting goal so far. As a team that has always paid attention to the efficiency of quick counterattacks, the inability of a striker to score goals in sports is undoubtedly a waste of resources. Returning to the truth, Liverpool fans in the audience were constantly shouting, creating a feverish home atmosphere, and the equalizing Liverpool players began to threaten Tottenham's attack and defense like soldiers who heard the sound of the horn. Maine received the ball on the left flank, but due to Kyle Walker's speed and physicality, he could not find a chance, so he had to return the football to midfielder Emre Can to decide how the team's attack should be carried out. Emre Can is best at tandem and long-range shooting, with several defenders standing in front of him, only to hand it to Coutinho. Philippe Coutinho also likes to shoot from distance, except that he has a wide field of vision and gives the ball directly to Henderson, who in turn gives it to Li Qing on the right wing. The Liverpool fans at Anfield Stadium instantly boiled, and many fans even stood up from their seats in order to see more clearly. Li Qing has performed many wonderful breakthroughs in this stadium in the past, and fans want to see it again. Son Heung-min, Ben Davis, and Wanyama were all across Fong Yuan, Minai, and Li Qing had no desire to break through. However, at this moment, he noticed that Son Heung-min had an intention to step forward to interfere, and his raised left foot instead pulled the football forward, and the outside of the instep of his right foot went forward. Maybe it's a temporary change of mind, the touch of the ball feels a little wrong, the force is on the side. The football rolled towards Son Heung-min against the ground, and Son Heung-min's face was happy, and he started to accelerate on the spot. His mind began to add drama uncontrollably, catch Li Qing's ball control mistake, break the ball, and counterattack the goal. In an instant, he found that Li Qing, who was originally farther away from football, was closer to football than himself in the electric flint. Ayo. I saw Li Qing's left foot step forward, the forefoot stepped on the football and pulled back sharply, the forefoot of the right foot stepped on the ball alternately and pulled back, facing the Tottenham defense, and the Liverpool fans in the audience subconsciously shouted. He Wei, the commentator of the fifth station of the Celestial Empire, blurted out, Marseille roundabout. Son Heung-min was stunned for a moment, and by the time he reacted, Li Qing had already passed the ball to Philippe Coutinho, who was plugging in front, and then ran at full speed, running towards the left rib of Tottenham's defense. Episode 93. The moment when Li Qing alternately pulled the ball with his left and right feet became the focus of the audience. The Marseille slalom action was fast and exciting, and it was very ornamental, and the Anfield Stadium resounded with thunderous applause. Papapapaya, Li Qing, who passed Son Heung-min, did not dwell in the world of personal technology display, and with a flick of the outside of his left foot, the football rolled against the grass towards Coutinho. Coutinho saw that Li Qing was very determined to cut forward. Alderweireld, Wanyama and Ben Davis did not react, and he chose to keep the ball straight with his high ability to read the game. The football rolled quickly against the grass towards Ben Davis and Alderweireld, and Pochettino, who was standing in the coaching area of the visiting team, suddenly felt a faint sense of unease. Referring to the strange ball dropped a few minutes ago, the corners of his mouth twitched slightly, won't it? Coutinho's pass was exactly the same as Li Qing's run, and the flamboyant Klopp stood on tiptoe, trying to see further. The thunderous applause created by Anfield Stadium was instantly replaced by a tsunami-like roar. Ayo. Li Qing looked up at his teammates running during the high-speed chase of the ball, and Firmino and Maine respectively inserted into the box, forming a double ghost shooting trend, attracting the defensive attention of all Tottenham players in the box. In addition, there are Tottenham players defending the central penalty spot and in the middle of the big penalty area, which was obviously arranged before the game. Logically speaking, even if Liverpool's attack is sudden this time, it is difficult to pose a threat to Lloris to guard the goal. However, Li Qing's vision is extremely wide. In addition to Roberto Firmino, Main and Wijnaldum, there is also the old comrade Milner, who switched from far front to left back. The first physical madman in the team. Since his right foot is not Li Qing's usual foot, he raised his left foot about 10 meters from the bottom line, adjusted the football to a position suitable for left-footed passing with the outside instep, faced the penalty area, and did not wait for Alderweireld to step forward and pass the ball directly. I don't know if Alderweireld watched too many highlights of Li Qing's league game against Chelsea, and he only warned that Li Qing would suddenly accelerate into the box from the bottom line like a loach, so that he forgot that the defensive cross should jump to interfere. The football flew into the air, and Firmino in front of him chose to stop in place when he watched the football coming, turning his head to look in the middle. Main, Kyle Walker, and Dale all sighed in their hearts as they watched the ball come in the air. Obviously, the ball was not passed to the middle, but fly to the back point. Goalkeeper Lloris did not attack, standing in front of the goal, his eyes following the football to the back point. The next moment, he snorted, subconsciously activated in place, and moved towards the far corner. The live director switched the broadcast footage, and Sky commentator Andy Gray saw Milner appear in the far picture, and his voice was 2 degrees higher. James Milner. No one is watching. Tottenham manager Pochettino has a vision of 5.2, and the movements of the players on both sides of the game in the box are clear, and it is precisely the farther you see, the faster your heartbeat. Tottenham fans in the Anfield Road stands were wide-eyed, and some timid fans closed their eyes. I saw Milner struggling with his left foot during the run, his upper body leaning forward, in the shape of a bent fish, and his forehead was heavily pressed in the middle of the falling football. Flying towards the goal with a changed trajectory, goalkeeper Lloris flew in to make a save while moving, trying to make a wonderful save before the ball arrived. It's really not good, and it can also put pressure on Milner, who was top the ball. But the old comrade Milner was concentrated, held his breath, and had nothing in his eyes but football, even if Lloris was quite handsome. The football clings to the left goal post and slams into the snow-white net. Go 1, the iconic chant of Andy Gray, a commentator from Sky Britannica, swept homes again. The ball went in. The ball went in, Lux Sports commentator Jean June said intently. Milner helped Liverpool to overtake the score. Sure enough, there is an old man in the family, such as a treasure. However, Milner was able to score a sporting goal thanks to Li Qing, and it was his accurate pass that gave Milner the opportunity to face the goalkeeper directly. Milner, who scored the goal, immediately got up from the ground and hooked his hand towards Li Qing, who gave the assist, with a smile, signaling to celebrate the goal together. Coach Jurgen Klopp shouted, and he turned excitedly to face the fans in the main stands, swinging his 2 thick and powerful arms back and forth to incite the excitement of the home fans. 0:1 to 2:1, it took less than 5 minutes. How can people not be excited about such a competition? He looked at Li Qing, who contributed 1 goal and 1 assist in this game, counting the 2 substitute games in the FA Cup and the 23rd round of the league. He already contributed 6 goals and 1 assist. Thinking of this amazing data, Klopp suddenly thought that Li Qing didn't even spend half of the time combined. Oh my god, it's terrifying. If converted into 90 minutes, how many goals would be scored in a single game? Of course, Klopp knows that this calculation is not rigorous enough. After all, Li Qing's 6 goals and 1 assist are all substitutes, taking advantage of the opposing defender's lack of concentration to score. As Li Qing's performance becomes more and more excellent, the opponents behind will definitely focus on how to limit Li Qing. As the head coach, he knows that Li Qing has distinctive characteristics and also outstanding weaknesses, but these 3 games as substitutes are overshadowed by dazzling characteristics. However, Tottenham Hotspur coach Pochettino, the opponent of this game, does not seem to know Li Qing well enough, which means that relying on Li Qing's explosive point can win Tottenham. The goal ended in slow motion, and the broadcast screen was given to Li Qing, who gave an assist. Sky commentator Andy Gray is unabated. Liverpool can quickly equalize at home. It is completely the talented player Lee from the Kirkby Academy. He can ride a single sword to seal the throat, and can send a deadly pass thousands of miles away. Such a young player is simply a once-in-a-century encounter. It's hard to guard against. Sun Xingmin, a player from baseball country, looked at Li Qing, who was walking back, and for the first time a sense of powerlessness appeared in his heart. But he was 3 days away from turning 16. Isn't even better than a little brat? No way. The game resumed, and Son Heung-min, who was holding his breath, began to take the initiative to ask for the ball, trying to help Tottenham equalize through his own efforts. There is no doubt that Son Heung-min's courage is commendable, but the Liverpool players are united. Even if Li Qing does not use the copper wall iron wall card, it is difficult to find opportunities from the attacking left side. On the contrary, Li Qing's role in the counterattack forced Pochettino to adjust his tactics, but it was Son Heung-min who was the first to be adjusted. Episode 94. Tottenham were reluctant to make substitutions when the attack was lackluster, with Harry Winks replacing Stick international Son Heung-min, who had done little in the game. Son Heung-min saw that the red number displayed by the replacement electronic plate was 7, stunned for a moment, or Li Qing next to him with sharp eyes, kindly pushed Son Heung-min, pointed to the sidelines, and said with a smile in standard English, "Hey, you are going to be replaced." Li Qing laughed very naturally, just like the little brother next door, very sunny, making people not angry. Winks and Pochettino were also beckoning, and Son Heung-min looked a little irritated, but the manager's adjustments must be followed, and even considering that the team was still behind the score, he had to take a step to the sidelines to complete the substitution ceremony with Winks. Pochettino's intention to replace Winks is very obvious, that is, to increase the depth of the midfield, fight with Liverpool in midfield, and then use Winks to limit the counter-attack Li Qing. Winks did meet Pochettino's expectations during his time off the bench, but as the game went on, Li Qing also adapted to Winks' style of play. Neither is physically strong enough and has a high ball intelligence, but Li Qing is fast and explosive, and can often use sudden starts to get rid of Winks and Tottenham defenders. Li Qing was focused on by Tottenham defenders, indirectly freeing Maine and Roberto Firmino. In the 67th minute of the game, Li Qing had just received the football on the right wing, and he was defended head-on by at least 2 defenders, as well as Wanyama and Alderweireld in the ribs, which means that he personally attracted 4 defenders. Faced with such a large defensive posture, Li Qing smiled and passed the football to right-back Klein. This scene happened to be filmed by the live director. Luico Sports will say the plan. Jean Jun laughed. It seems that Pochettino is very jealous of Li Qing. He just received the football by Ben Davis and Harry Winks' frontal defense. Through the live TV screen, we can also clearly see Alderweireld and Wanyama behind the defense. It's really unimaginable. In an angle that fans could not see in front of the TV, Li Qing covered his mouth and said 2 words to Maine, and the two seemed to stagger, as if nothing had happened. Pochettino, who had been focusing on Li Qing, frowned. He clearly saw what Li Qing and Maine seemed to say, and there was a faint uneasiness in his heart. The uneasy heart gradually disappeared with time, and after about 5 minutes, Li Qing, who was running sideways, hooked his hand towards Emre Can, who did not know why, subconsciously passed the ball, and Winks and Ben Davis had a conditioned reflex, nervous. The corners of Li Qing's mouth raised slightly, his vision was extremely broad, his mind was like a bird's-eye view of the stadium, and it was also a display of red and white positions that were clearly distinguished. On the left side of the attack, Maine is quietly running away from the space exposed between Kyle Walker and Dale. Alderweireld's attention was mostly on Li Qing's side in directing the defense, so that what was happening behind him could not be seen. Kyle Walker noticed Maine cutting forward and seeing Milner running along the left touchline. He immediately remembered Li Qing's assist on Milner's goal. Between the electric flint, he chose to slowly go back. Of course, this solution is a transfer ball in the direction of the needle attack. Li Qing took the initiative to face the football, and the Tottenham defense line was no less than sounding the alarm, and everyone was in high spirits. I saw Li Qing standing on the ground with his right foot, and the inside of his left instep kicked towards the middle and lower part of the football rolling against the ground. The football soared into the air, flew over the middle of the pitch from the right rib of the attacking side, and landed towards the top of the arc of the penalty area. Dale had already judged the landing point by looking at the ball in the air, but at this moment, a red figure suddenly flashed in front of his eyes, and the big 19 number behind him told him who it was. Oops. Kyle Walker suddenly realized something, and his heart clicked. The on-site director switched the camera in time, and the voice of Jin Xiangkai suddenly raised a few degrees. Maine, aoaoaooo. With a loud roar erupting at Anfield, Maine, who ran to the top of the arc of the big penalty area, took the opportunity to lead the ball into the box with his chest. Goalkeeper Loris dropped the goal, and Maine handled the ball very reasonably in the first stroke. Even in the face of Loris he did not panic, he even had time to look up to observe the angle of the shot. Sooner or later, Maine stops the ball at his feet with the outside instep of his right foot, then raises his right foot before the penalty spot to complete a very high-quality slash. Loris gets down very quickly, but rolls forward against the grass faster. Anfield Stadium instantly boiled, and wave after wave of shouts began to spread from the stands of the die-hard KOP fans to the entire stadium. Tottenham fans in the Anfield Road stands have an urge to cry. Their own attack has not scored many times. How can Liverpool simply organize a few attacks to score? It's not scientific. Maine, who scored, did not celebrate the goal alone. He smiled and turned to face Li Qing, who gave a brilliant assist. No matter from which angle, without Li Qing's advance notification and accurate passing, he may not have scored in this focus match. Since Li Qing sent the assist, then he had to thank his teammates, who were 9 years younger than him. Leicester Sports commentator Jean Jun laughed. It was Liverpool's Li, pronounced Ni, horse connection. The score displayed on the stadium scoreboard changed from 2-1 to 3-1. With more than 20 minutes left in the game, Tottenham manager Pochettino didn't want to throw in the towel easily, and before the game started, he made another adjustment to the lineup, and it was 2 people in a row, which is equivalent to saying that his 3 substitutions were all used at this time. Dembele and Ali, who were almost invisible in this game, were replaced by Sissoko and Janssen, respectively. The adjustment is made, and whether the equalizer can be equalized depends on the specific performance of the players on the field. Unfortunately, it is a pity that the visiting Tottenham substitutes need time to adapt to the rhythm of the game, but the morale-boosting Liverpool players do not give them this time, so the attack is all fierce and not threatening. The scoreboard showed 3-1 until the referee Oliver blew the end of the game, and when the 3 long whistles sounded, the players on the field tacitly hugged Li Qing. The on-site director keenly captured this picture, and Leicester sports commentator Jean June said in a loud voice, "Liverpool can turn defeat into victory at home, and the young boy who appeared in the picture should be the first credit." If nothing else, the best player of this game is likely to be Li Qing, who contributed 1 goal and 2 assists. Episode 95, Tottenham manager Pochettino, who lost, was very gentlemanly. He took the initiative to walk to the home team dugout and shake hands with Klopp. "Jurgen, congratulations." Klopp shrugged his shoulders and said, "Actually, your performance is not bad, it's just we have a perverted child." The voice is not very loud, and the tone is not deliberately ostentatious, but Pochettino just sounds uncomfortable. The broadcast screen was given to Li Qing, and the fans sitting in front of the TV could see that Li Qing's immature handsome face was faintly heavier. In this game, he performed well in the first 25 minutes of the second half, and the remaining 20 minutes were not very big. He knows that part of the reason for this is that his teammates are satisfied with the status quo, with a 2-goal lead enough to win Tottenham and not enough to participate in the attack, but also partly because the Tottenham players are getting bigger and bigger, and the defense doesn't care about the ball. If the next team defends more fiercely, then that's the trouble. Although he has a soul close to 30 years old, it is the first time to participate in professional football, and in the face of the imposing Han defense, many opportunities are subconsciously hidden. It seems that the right time to adjust the mentality, professional football. It's not that simple. Just when Li Qing was too vain, a tall and handsome player wearing a Tottenham jersey walked over, smiled and raised his right hand. "Li, you are really good enough, can you exchange jerseys?" Li Qing came back to his senses and looked up to see Tottenham striker Harry Kane, the future captain of England, a player with a very British gentlemanly temperament. He showed a handsome smile that was not inferior to Harry Kane, raised his right hand and squeezed it gently, and said without blushing and his heart did not beat, "The performance is okay, the second half of the second half can be defended by your teammates." Harry Kane rolled his eyes and said in his heart, "I worked hard to score a goal, and your girl's goal and 2 assists are just okay?" The Premier League is the most physically combative league in the world. You're young, not even 16, and there's a long way to go. The key now is to protect yourself. Injuries are a nightmare for all professional footballers. He definitely couldn't say that in person. He smiled unabated, transmitting rich competition experience to Li Qing, and when he said this, he changed his tone. "I really envy that you were so successful at the beginning of your career, like me. The start of your career was in League One, England's 3rd division, 5 goals in 18 games, who can compare to you? 6 goals off the bench in 3 games, right? Come on." Saying that, Harry Kane took off his upper Tottenham shirt and handed it to Li Qing with a smile. "Exchange a shirt, hope. In the future national team, I can be teammates with you." Li Qing took off his shirt, took the shirt and put it on his shoulder. Because he was still wearing a red undershirt inside, he didn't feel cold. Watching Harry Kane leave, Li Qing frowned and fell into deep thought. "Hope to be a teammate with me in the future national team?" In fact, Li Qing is the first in his heart, but his identity is more troublesome, and there is only one uncle who has no contact in the, which is tantamount to having no relatives, restoring nationality, unless the green light is opened, otherwise you have to stay in for 5 years step by step, or marry a wife. However, he is still 16 years old, and even under British law, he cannot marry until he is 18. But then again, the men's football team has a big temper and refuses to admit defeat. If you are a national team teammate with this group of big men, let alone advance to the World Cup, it is difficult to even qualify for a group in the Asian Cup. At that time, I am afraid that the dream of the World Cup will never be realized. If he retains his British citizenship, he can choose to represent England in the international A level and qualify for the World Cup. Some people may think that Li Qing is to realize his dream regardless of the rise and fall of the motherland, but it is undeniable that the current environment of football is really bad. Green and yellow, 23 years old, is still known as a young player, and even needs policy support for a minute of playing. The best player played by the men's football team is the 37-year-old veteran Xing. What role can such a national team play? There are many ways to return to the motherland, and when you make a lot of money in the future, you can open a youth academy and make the cornerstone for the future football dream of it to take off. A strong person can never make the team strong. "Li, why are you in a daze?" Firmino's big white teeth appeared in front of him, and Li Qing said with a smile, "It's nothing, just thinking of something unhappy." "What's going on? Can you say it to make me happy, Li Qing?" In the mixed zone after the game, the player interviewed this time was old comrade Milner. It is not that he replaced Li Qing as the best on the spot in the interview, but his performance was the official best player, although Li Qing contributed a goal and 2 assists in this game, but his role in the second half was not obvious, but Milner, who played as a left-back, performed eye-catching, sparing physical running and just the right time to defend Liverpool on the left side. The 3-1 home win over Tottenham made manager Jurgen Klopp very happy, and with a wave of his hand, he unexpectedly gave the team 3 days off. Of course, this holiday is for those players who play in the league, and substitutes and youth team promotions who failed to make the 18-man squad need to participate in training. However, in order to be able to play more games and improve himself, Li Qing gave up his vacation and chose to practice in Melwood. Also thinking is Maine, who has just finished the Africa Cup of Nations and has yet to recover to his best physical performance. Brazilians Firmino and Coutinho are on vacation together and are said to travel to Malaga, a resort in southern Spain, to enjoy the sun and sand. Li Qing spent the morning of the school week studying at school and took the bus to Melwood in the afternoon to participate in team training. Klopp and his assistants Bovac and Kravitz looked at Li Qing's efforts, and their eyes showed great appreciation for Li Qing, and they were even discussing whether to replace Lallana with Li Qing. After several discussions, they felt that they should not be so anxious. With Li Qing's current performance, he can indeed be qualified to start, but according to Li Qing's characteristics, the most suitable for him is still a substitute. In addition, Li Qing is still in a state of long body, and letting him participate in too many fierce competitions is likely to bring unexpected consequences. If Li Qing knew what the coaching staff thought, he would definitely say, "Don't be afraid, I have a system." Of course, this is a joke. After all, the system is Li Qing's help to become powerful. If it is announced, it must not become a guinea pig. Episode 96. Liverpool's 3-1 home win over Tottenham put Li Qing in the spotlight again, and it was his 1-shot and 2-pass that made Liverpool's comeback victory. After beating Wolves and Chelsea in succession, it is easy to find that the 10 goals scored by Liverpool in 3 games are related to Li Qing. 2 goals, and 2 assists. 6 goals and 2 assists. The remaining 2 goals seem to have nothing to do with Li Qing, but in fact, his excellent performance has won many offensive opportunities for his teammates, which is equivalent to saying that the 3 most beautiful games played by Liverpool since entering 2017 were made by Li Qing. The point is that Li Qing is not yet 16 years old. Such an excellent performance can easily make him the focus of attention of fans around the world. In particular, the sports media and fans, and even many media and fans hope that the Football Association can contact Li Qing to let him restore his nationality, and then represent the men's football team in the last 5 qualifiers of the Asian Top 12. Judging from Li Qing's contribution of 6 goals and 2 assists in less than 90 minutes in 3 games, if the representative men's football team has a chance to win all the last 5 rounds, when the time comes. The men's soccer team, with a total of 16 points, has a good chance of representing Asia at next year's World Cup in Russia. Anyway, Li Qing has been trained by Liverpool for more than 6 years, and he can get a Premier League Labour certificate anyway, so he doesn't have to worry about getting the nationality and not being able to play in the Premier League when the time comes. These media and fan remarks naturally attracted the attention of the Football Association, but the Football Association officials scoffed and chose to ignore them. The huge needs a minor player to weigh the football table, that is the big joke in the world. Of course, there are also many media and fans who do not support this approach, because football has rotted to the bone, no one can save it. Li Qing admits that he is the person, so then prove himself well in the World Football Centre. Isn't it also a kind of glory for the country? The domestic media on the British Peninsula praised Li Qing, and I don't know if I saw the news reports from the, and many well-known media hope that the head coaches of all levels in England can be recruited as soon as possible to avoid being taken away. Liverpool's Post even wants the head coach of the England senior national team Gareth Southgate to summon Li Qing and then come on as a substitute in an International A match, thus cutting off Li Qing's chance to play for. England manager Gareth Southgate was surprised by Li Qing's performance, but he believes Li Qing is still too young, only 16 years old, and should now play for the U17 and U19 youth teams. After all, this is the year of the World Junior Championships. Before there is the baseball country U20 World Cup, after the Arab U17 World Cup. Li Qing, who paid all his attention to team training and system training ground, rarely paid attention to outside media comments, and only occasionally looked at the posts forwarded by the other party when chatting with Tong Shinbing on WeChat. On the evening of the same day, Tong Shinbing sent a relatively unexpected voice message to Li Qing. Why accidents? Because Tong Shinbing actually asked Li Qing if he wanted to train tomorrow. From the beginning of their acquaintance to the present, although their relationship has progressed quickly and they occasionally drive, they have never said a question with the meaning of dating. Li Qing has a soul close to 30 years old, where can he not hear the meaning? This? Isn't it just asking him if he has it tomorrow? So he said with a smile, Cousin Shinbing, tomorrow is Valentine's Day, you honestly tell me, are you peeping at my immature body? Bah. In less than 10 seconds, Tong Shenbing replied, I really don't know what you are an underage boy thinking all day. Hey, Li Qing said with a smile, you asked me if I want to train tomorrow. Isn't it just asking me if I have time tomorrow? What do you want to do? Just say, what do you want to do? Tong Shenbing is an internet expert, and she has studied homophonic memes on the internet very deeply, and I don't know why, she actually thought want to gone? Say it directly, blah blah. In a girls' dormitory at the University of Manchester, she blushed, quickly expelled the picture of children's discomfort from her mind, and then pressed the screen, pretending to be relaxed and said, you don't have your 16th birthday tomorrow. I want to see if you have time tomorrow. If you have time, let's have a meal together. After listening to the voice, Li Qing slapped his forehead sharply, unexpectedly forgetting that the 16th birthday of the original owner of this body was tomorrow. Of course, his birthday is calculated according to the lunar calendar, the 18th of the first month, but it coincides with Valentine's Day. Li Qing listened very comfortably, and he pondered for a moment. You have to train in the morning and afternoon. If you have time, then eat a dinner together. I will treat you. After a while, Tong Shenbing replied with a text, good. It is not difficult to see that Tong Shenbing has made up his mind. The next day, Li Qing came to Melwood early, and it was strange that his teammates who had not been to the training ground before 10 o'clock in the past came to the stadium one after another at 9 o'clock. Firmino and Coutinho, who were supposed to be on holiday in Malaga, also returned to Melwood training base early to participate in the team's training. In addition, he felt that the gaze of his teammates looking at him was a little strange. But it's a little hard to guess where the specific strangeness is. Li Qing is a lazy person, and he never bothers to guess other people's things. At the end of the 1.5-hour training session, the players walked to the locker room one after another, and Li Qing also packed up his things and prepared to go, but at this moment, assistant coach Kravitz stopped him. Hey Li, come here. Mr. Peter, how? Li Qing looked curiously. Kravitz's right hand naturally rested on Li Qing's shoulder. The weekend is the 5th round of the FA Cup, home to Leicester City. I wonder if you are ready to start. What? Starting? Li Qing's pupils shrank sharply and looked at Kravitz in surprise. Don't be so excited, just ask you. Li Qing. The two chatted for about 5 minutes, and Kravitz smiled and patted Li Qing on the back. Let's go take a shower, and I'll have lunch later. I don't know why, Li Qing always felt that Kravitz had a strange expression. He could guess from the coach's arrangement, since he was not suitable for the starter, then why did Kravitz ask himself if he was ready? How strange. Li Qing walked to the door of the dressing room with doubts. Strangely, the inside of the dressing room was dark, and no sound came out, which felt a little scary. But at this moment, the lights in the dressing room turned on, and I saw Firmino and Maine pushing a cake cart out of the bathhouse. Li Qing walked in with his mouth half open, and his teammates standing on both sides sang in unison, Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Li Qing, Episode 97. After singing a birthday song, Li Qing's eyes were already covered with a layer of mist. Head coach Klopp said with a smile, Li, come and make a wish, cut the birthday cake. For Li Qing, whether it is before or after the crossing, he rarely celebrates his birthday, and now the whole team sings a birthday song for him to celebrate his birthday. That kind of emotion is from the heart, if not for his super endurance. It is estimated that tears have come out of his eyes. In fact, no one said anything about him when he cried, after all. He was now nothing more than a 16-year-old teenager. Li Qing shrugged his nose, walked towards the cake cart, closed his eyes under the gaze of his teammates, and made a wish. However, at this moment, Firmino and the other teammates looked at each other, and everyone tacitly nodded their heads, ready to do something. Li Qing made a small wish, and just as he was about to blow out the candle, he heard a gust of wind behind him, and his physical condition moved a step to the right. With a pop, Firmino and Wijnaldum painted each other's faces, and the white cream and yellow cake dregs stuck to their faces, causing everyone to burst into laughter. Ha 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 dash. Firmino wiped the cream off his face and said in surprise, this. Fake, so quick to react? According to the plan of him and his teammates, he took advantage of Li Qing's wish to act, but what he didn't expect was that Li Qing reacted so quickly that he didn't give him time to react. Li Qing said angrily, if I react slowly, I can't be secretly calculated by you. Humph. Firmino snorted coldly, brothers, let's go together. Before Li Qing could react, other teammates rushed up, tacitly grabbing Li Qing's limbs and keeping him from moving. Firmino and Maine laughed and cut the 7th layer of cake with a knife, each holding one side, and snapped in the face amid Li Qing's don't plea for mercy. Ha 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 dash. There was a tacit laughter from the dressing room. I fought with you. Li Qing flicked his hands, broke away from Arnold and Henderson, wiped off the cream cake that covered his vision, directly held the 6th layer of cake, and opened the bow left and right. Bayou bayou bayou. So, the dressing room became a cake battlefield for Liverpool players. You throw a piece, I throw a piece. Even manager Jurgen Klopp, assistant coach Bovac, Kravitz, strength and conditioning coach and goalkeeper coach were not spared and joined the fray. The cake fight lasted about 10 minutes, and almost no one had a clean place in their bodies, which was exactly what made everyone have a lot of fun and had a good lunch. The afternoon training session was a team pair, and Qing wore a fluorescent vest that symbolized the main force for the first time in the team group competition. Wearing a vest, he muttered in his heart, shouldn't you really start the lineup? But on second thought, this possibility. Premier League teams often don't use much of a main force to participate in the FA Cup in the quarter-finals, which means that he is really likely to represent Liverpool at Anfield as a main player. Thinking of this possibility, the better Li lie, the more abuseful substitute goalkeeper Karius does not want it. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the training session ended, and Firmino, who had taken a shower in the locker room, asked Li Qing, "Hey Li, or will we take you to the nightclub today? Take a look? If you put it in normal times, you may participate in this kind of team-building activities, but today it will definitely not work, because..." He made an appointment with Tong Shinbing. To be precise, it was Tong Shinbing who made an appointment with Li Qing. Judging from his side knocks, Tong Shinbing, who came to Liverpool this time, did not tell his cousin Zhao Qianbon. So Li Qing shook his head solemnly and said, "I'm a good student in the new era, even if the nightclub is over, I have to catch up with my homework tonight, or else." "Robert, do you help me with my homework?" Firmino quickly shook his head, "If you let me do my homework, then it's better to let me compare with James in a marathon, ha 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 dash." With a burst of laughter, everyone went their separate ways. Go back to each house, find each mother. Li Qing hitched a ride on the Captain Henderson's car, and the usual 40-minute bus ride was directly shortened to 15 minutes. Looking at the Bentley Flying Spur Series sports cars driving away, he felt a little envious in his heart. There is still 1 year to get a driver's license, it's so difficult. Li Qing, wearing a mask, did not go home directly, but stopped a taxi and went to the agreed Chinese restaurant. Although it is said that professional players should try not to touch heavy oil and salt food as much as possible, Li Qing has not eaten traditional food for a long time, and his heart is very hungry, just taking advantage of his birthday to relieve his hunger. After a while, the taxi stops in front of the arch marked by a beautifully built traditional Chinese torii. Li Qing paid for the car and looked up at the 3 words, **City, on the archway. This is Liverpool's Chinatown and the first Chinatown established in Europe. Its history can be traced back to the 60s of the 19th century, when Liverpool had been established as a major trading point between Europe and the Communist Party, and the people who arrived in Liverpool began to struggle here, becoming the first large-scale Chinese community force in Europe. Getting back to business, Li Qing quickly found the Kwani Chinese restaurant, known as the best reputation in Liverpool's Chinatown, and before he walked in to visit, he saw the young and beautiful Tong Shinbing sitting by the window, staring nervously at the horizontal screen of the mobile phone. Needless to say, it must be playing with the King pesticide. The two had eaten and drunk enough, and the time was close to 7 o'clock, and Li Qing asked Tong Shinbing after settling the bill, "Cousin Shinbing, today is Valentine's Day, or let's go for a walk on the Mersey?" Tong Shinbing stretched out, automatically ignored what Li Qing said about Valentine's Day, and nodded lightly, "Okay." Since today is Valentine's Day in the West, from Chinatown to the banks of the Mersey River, they saw countless couples kissing me and me. The two stood on the bridge, looking at the cruise ship in the distance. Li Qing ignored the couple of kiss next to him, and stared at Tong Shinbing casually. "Cousin Shinbing, do you remember our gambling agreement, huh?" Tong Shinbing was a little flustered. She could do it without scruples across the screen, but next to Li Qing, there was a little deer bumping, so she looked away and pretended to be calm and said, "What gambling contract? Why don't I remember?" Groove. Li Qing realized that Tong Shinbing was going to pay the bill again, and his heart moved. "Since you don't admit it, then don't blame Xiaoya for spicy show debt collection, Cousin Shinbing." Tong Shinbing subconsciously turned his head to look, only to see that handsome face with an evil smile suddenly appeared in front of him. Fang's heart suddenly trembled. Li Qing's neck was close at hand, her pupils shrank, her big watery eyes stared at Li Qing in surprise, and her heart beat faster. The old lady's first kiss is gone. Episode 98. When Tong Shinbing looked at Li Qing again, the other party had closed his eyes, looking very enjoyable, and his hands naturally put on his small man's waist. The next moment, her teeth moved lightly. Li Qing subconsciously took 2 steps back, his right hand touched his faintly painful lower lip, looked down at his fingertips but there was no blood. It seemed that he had mercy under his mouth, but his tone was somewhat displeased. "Are you a dog? Little brat, do you know that this is my sister's first kiss, in English, fear of harmony?" Tong Shinbing's face was slightly red, and he stared at Li Qing with hatred. "It's like it's not my first kiss." Li Qing spread his hands, his face was not red and his heart did not beat. "Who made you backtrack?" "It was just me getting back one of the gambling debts." Speaking of this, the corners of his mouth turned up slightly, raised a good-looking arc, and smiled sarcastically. "I remember you seem to have told me that pulling the hook and hanging for 100 years is not allowed to change, that. When will the rest of the gamble be returned? I'll give you a big-headed ghost." You have no proof. Tong Shinbing rolled his eyes that were enough to seduce the soul. Li Qing, who retained the evidence, slowly walked towards Tong Shinbing, until the two were less than 10 centimeters apart. Tong Shinbing looked at Li Qing with a panicked look in his eyes, and took a step back defensively. You. What are you doing? What can I do? Li Qing saw Tong Shinbing so flustered, he couldn't help but become bold. He first found out the recording file saved by the mobile phone, and then took a step forward. His eyes were facing each other. He said with a smile, "Listen, see who said this?" Tong Shinbing listened to the familiar voice coming from the mobile phone receiver. His pretty face was red. "Don't look over." Yu Guang saw the crooked nut passing by holding a bouquet of flowers and handing it to the dating girl. His eyes turned slightly, counting in his heart, coughing lightly, and said indifferently, "In fact, it's not impossible to be your girlfriend, but you." Me what? It won't be another goal, right? You may not believe it, for me. Li Qing said subconsciously. Nope. Tong Shinbing interrupted Li Qing's tirade, and pointed to the crooked nut holding flowers next to him. "If you can send me a bouquet of flowers in 5 seconds, I will promise you." How? Saying that, she blinked her cute and beautiful big eyes. Seriously? Li Qing smiled slightly. Looking at Tong Shinbing's heart was a little inexplicably uneasy, as if he was the prey that took the initiative to send to the door. So he added, "You can't borrow from crooked nuts, nor can you buy it on the spot. In short, if you want to take it out of yourself, today is Valentine's Day. Don't tell me you are not prepared, huh?" Li Qing's face sank, and he said depressedly. Tong Shinbing's face bloomed with a victorious smile, and said with a smile, "I didn't say that. I can say the conditions, if you are really able to take it out and not it on the spot." "How is it, really?" Li Qing looked at Tong Shinbing suspiciously. "Pearls are not so real." I saw Li Qing's right hand coquettishly wiped a handful of hair, and said, "Very funny, the time has come to witness a miracle." He pulled open the chain with his left hand, reached into the down jacket with his right hand, and when he stretched out again, he was already holding a bouquet of red roses with few petals left, and he handed it to Tong Shinbing without blushing and without a heartbeat, and said with a smile, "Charming Shinbing beauty, I don't know. How can you deny it this time?" Tong Shinbing stared at the bouquet of red roses in Li Qing's hand that did not have a few petals left. The corners of her mouth twitched slightly, and there was a strange feeling in her heart, as if she seemed to be arranged clearly no matter what she did, and suddenly, four words popped up in her mind: destiny. If it is not fate, then why is it all such a coincidence? Originally not wanting the old cow eating tender grass, she sighed, reached out and took the bouquet of red roses that dropped another petal of flower, stared at Li Qing with big watery eyes, and said lightly, "Although this flower is a little rotten, it is also considered the right condition." Before the words fell, Li Qing took a step forward with lightning speed, gently wrapped his arms around Tong Shinbing's waist, and said quite excitedly, You promised. Tong Shinbing felt the excitement from Li Qing. His face was slightly red, but his heart began to identify with the boyfriend 3 years younger than him in front of him from this moment, and put his hands on each other's waist in response, and took the initiative to lean on Li Qing's face. "Well, I agreed." When she said these words, the stone that pressed on her heart was finally put down. Although the two are 3 years apart, but destiny is destined to be the biggest. Originally, Li Qing wanted to take the opportunity to take a blood, but Tong Shinbing said that the two had just confirmed the relationship, and it would take some time to slowly adapt, and Li Qing was not the kind of man who liked the overlord to take the bow hard, so he had to wait until the time was ripe and then do it overnight. Moreover, now that the body is still in the developing period, if it happens too early, it may not be able to rise further. The next morning, Li Qing dropped Tong off at Liverpool train station and rushed to Melwood training base to prepare for the 5th round of the FA Cup at Anfield over the weekend. Due to Leicester City's sale of N'Golo Kanté this season, the overall strength has declined to a certain extent, coupled with a significant decline in the form of core players compared to last season, resulting in a poor start to the season, and by the 25th round it just concluded is only 1 point more than the relegation zone. Manager Ranieri is already facing a crisis of leaving class. Next weekend's visit to the Pizjuan Stadium for the first leg of this season's Champions League quarter-final, the 5th round of the FA Cup at Anfield, is likely to be strategically abandoned. After all, Leicester City are not traditional giants, the bench depth is not enough, and with the league mired in relegation and preparing for the Champions League knockout stage, the less important FA Cup has become a discardable option. Liverpool also don't have enough bench depth, but they only have the League and FA Cup left this season, and the lineup is more comfortable than Leicester City. As the time of the game approached, the media from the East and the media of the Sun Country became excited. Li Qing has been extremely good lately, and at just over 16 years old, he is likely to appear in the squad for the 5th round of the Liverpool FA Cup, which means that he will score goals at home to Leicester City. The Sun Country media is concerned about Shinji Okazaki. Last season Leicester City miracle in addition to Vardy and Mahrez performed well. Forward Shinji Okazaki also contributed, although Leicester City is not in good condition this season, but Shinji Okazaki is in good shape. Sun Country Media believes that Shinji Okazaki will definitely have a wonderful performance in the FA Cup and lead Leicester City to defeat Liverpool. As a result, the FA Cup was dubbed the East Asian Derby by media from the East. Episode 99. Regarding the East Asian Derby reported by the media and the Sun Country Media, Li Qing is relatively speechless. For Shinji Okazaki, who is conscientious but has limited strength, it is obvious that Sun Xingmin, who has competed before, is stronger, but it is in this context that the two came out for comparison. Li Qing felt a little out of grade. It's not that he looks down on the Sun's country, but Shinji Okazaki's strength is really average. The media and fans are full of expectations for this match, and Lux Sports, which has the exclusive live broadcast rights of the FA Cup, took the opportunity to make a fortune and launched a campaign for fans to cheer for Li Qing. Fans who want to watch Li Qing have no choice but to pay for virtual tickets to watch the fifth round of the FA Cup. Who led Celestial Empire 5 and other online TV stations, not by secondary broadcast rights? Closer to home, Li Qing, who has always been eager to start, finally started in the fifth round of the FA Cup, while Alexander-Arnold and Harry Weilerson from the under-23 youth team also entered the starting lineup. Leicester City are also sending a substitute lineup, and cores like Vardy and Mahrez are not even in the squad, obviously. This is selective abandonment. Lineker, a commentator from the BBC, said quietly, "It seems that Claudio Ranieri is really ready to give up the FA Cup." Klopp has long known about Ranieri's strategic abandonment through Leicester City's 18-man squad, but as an experienced professional coach, he knows that the Lions fight the rabbit with all their strength. Even if they play at home, they can't take it lightly. Although a number of youth team members were fielded in this game, the central axis is the main player. Minale, Matip, Wijnaldum and Roberto Firmino, together with Li Qing, who has been in excellent form recently, are basically safe to beat substitute Leicester City at home. Shinji Okazaki, who was highly anticipated by the Sun Country media and fans, made his debut, but he is destined to have a difficult chance to perform, because Liverpool, playing at home, will definitely take the initiative in the game, and Leicester City can only passively defend. Lux Sports commentator Zhang Jun looked at Li Qing on the broadcast screen and said with a smile, "This is the first time that Li Qing has played for Liverpool as a main player. I think the fans in front of the TV must be wondering if he will contribute goals in this game. 6 goals and 2 assists in the last 3 games as a substitute, then what about this game?" Li Qing, who appeared in the starting lineup for the first time, was very excited, standing in front of the "This is Anfield" plaque with a strong feeling of honor. He subconsciously clenched his fists naturally, and encouraged himself in his heart, "Come on. Be sure to score." Anfield Stadium. For Li Qing, the stadium has changed again. His efficient goals and Koke's academy status are supported by more Liverpool fans. In addition to posters, there are many banners and slogans. With the sound of the team song "You Will Never Go Alone," Li Qing, who was standing facing the main stand, instantly had a feeling of blood rushing again, and he couldn't wait for the game to start immediately. About 3 minutes later, Liverpool's home match against Leicester City in the 5th round of the 2016-2017 championship season officially began. Leicester City with the advantage of the kickoff directly, the drinking brother Drinkwater directly went to Suns international Shinji Okazaki, who pulled to the left wing, but he was significantly inferior to Alexander-Arnold under the judgment of the foot, who pushed the ball forward, and the football fell right towards Li Qing, who assisted the defense. The Liverpool Stadium fans in the audience subconsciously lengthened their voices and gave Li Qing, who won the ball, obviously hoping to see a wonderful breakthrough performance again. Reluctantly, Leicester City defender Ndidi chose to be decisive, dragged Li Qing at the moment Li Qing touched the ball. Leaning back, Li Qing spread his hands, expressing helplessness. Referee Anthony Taylor obviously whistled, and the shouts made by Liverpool fans in the audience were instantly replaced by boos. Obviously, this is how Liverpool fans express their dissatisfaction with Ndidi. In the ensuing game time, Li Qing was frequently fouled by Leicester City defenders, so much so that Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp frequently complained to the fourth official. The time of the game passed quickly, and in the blink of an eye, it was half an hour, and no one expected that the game that was identified as one-sided before the game had not changed until now. 0-0. Taking advantage of the dead ball opportunity, the live director gave Li Qing a close-up of pushing to his face. Li Qing, who appeared on the broadcast screen, frowned, making people feel a little lost. Leicester Sports commentator Zhang Jun frowned. Leicester City's defensive tactics have worked very well. Liverpool, with Li Qing as the main attack point, has become a little weak in attack, and now it will be up to Klopp to make changes to the team's tactics. In fact, Li Qing, who seems to be targeted, is not completely suppressed. Leicester City defenders have paid the price of 2 yellow cards to defend Li Qing, and as the game goes on, he slowly discovers some problems exposed by Leicester City's defensive end. In the 34th minute, Li Qing in the running received a pass from Wijnaldum, and Ndidi, who was facing close defense, did not choose to pass the ball, but swept the ball sideways to the middle and speed up his feet. The young Ndidi didn't think so much, he strictly followed the pre-match coach Ranieri and did not leave Li Qing. Ndidi was like a piece of cowhide candy stuck to Li Qing, but at this moment, Li Qing suddenly stepped on the ball with his left foot and stopped sharply. Ndidi subconsciously braked sharply in place. Li Qing, who had the initiative, used his super explosive power to start again in place, and Ndidi, who had quite spit out defensive ability, started with it. At the same time, Li Qing stepped forward with his right foot, and the heel of his left foot quickly slammed into the right rear of the football, stopping sharply again, and Ndidi couldn't keep up with the rhythm anymore. I saw Li Qing adjust in small steps, and his body accelerated towards the position where Ndidi was standing. No one expected that Li Qing, who was restricted for a long time, would suddenly pass Ndidi, and the drinking brother who supplemented the defense was half a beat slower, and Li Qing directly used the outer instep of his left foot to accelerate the ball to the middle of the court, directly facing the entire back line. Firmino, Harry Wylerson and Sturridge, who had returned from injury, stepped forward and took 3 defenders with him. It wasn't until he dribbled to the top of the penalty area that centre-back Hutt realized the danger. Li Qing waited for this opportunity, bounced the outside of his right foot, and the football rolled against the ground to Firmino, who did not know when to stop, and the latter did not stop the ball directly into the left rib of the penalty area. Central defender Wager looked at Li Qing, who was plugged in at high speed, and then looked at the football that appeared in the defensive range. He chose to fall to the ground between electric flint stones to solve the siege, but Li Qing came out faster, lightly picked up the tip of his left foot, and jumped over Wag. The broadcast screen switched, and the Luico Sports commentator shouted fiercely, "Li Qing." With this shout, Li Qing looked up at the position of goalkeeper Schmeichel Jr., stepped forward with his right foot, stood on the right side of the football, raised his left foot, and quickly kicked towards the middle of the football with the part between the arch of the foot and the instep of the foot. The football rushed against the grass to the far corner of the goal, and Schmeichel Jr. got off the ground half a beat slower than the ball rushed forward, and the hysterically elongated voice of Liverpool fans from Anfield Stadium, Li. The scoreboard shows the score from 0-0 to 1 o'clock. Episode 100. The frenetic atmosphere of Anfield Stadium was completely ignited by Li Qing's low shot from the left rib of the penalty area, and the huge shouts like a mountain roared wave after wave. It is no exaggeration to say that even a few kilometers away in the city center can hear the sound from Anfield. Li Qing, who scored the goal, opened his arms and ran all the way to the camera position, shouting with his arms raised. He came off the bench to contribute 6 goals and 2 assists, scoring just over half an hour into the game, and the efficiency is simply undesirable. But then again, just score a goal. If any teammates know Li Qing's thoughts, it is estimated that they will find a piece of tofu to hit and die. Firmino has not scored in several games. Li Qing's goal is still disgusted? Li Qing, who celebrated the goal with his teammates, learned a lot from the goal just now, such as scoring this thing is urgent, must be gradual. Football is a team sport, no matter how strong the individual ability cannot compete with the whole team, which is why the world football duo Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi have no way to lead the national team to win the World Cup. Players who tend to be a threat will encounter a more perverted defense. As the saying goes, 2 fists are difficult to fight 4 hands. Strikers must be patient if they want to score goals, constantly looking for opportunities by running, and then take advantage of the subtle loopholes between the electric flints to score. Standing in the home coach's command area, Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp shouted excitedly. He was still a little worried that Li Qing would lose himself without scoring in more than half an hour of starting, but now it seems that he is thinking a little too much. But then again, the quality of the FA Cup is not destined to be comparable to the league. After all, Leicester City are left with league relegation and Champions League knockout rounds. Thinking of this, he turned his head to look at Ranieri, who was still in high spirits last season. Ranieri now looks much older than when Leicester City won the miracle last year, and the sadness between his eyebrows is very obvious. Although the bench has given the game a tone, as a professional coach, who doesn't want to win? People are all flukes. The game resumed, and Leicester City consciously stepped up their attack, but the overall strength was not as good as Liverpool, who played at home, and the attack ended in failure. With the goal scored, Li Qing has become more confident, and as long as he sees the breakthrough space, he will test the concentration of Leicester defenders. Ndidi, known as N'Golo Kante's successor, has become more and more powerful, and he simply cannot keep up with Li Qing's rhythm, and with other teammates having to take care of Liverpool's forward participation in attacking players, he simply has to help. Ndidi was again playing cards in the process of defending Li Qing, so much so that his defense was always tied up. As Li Qingwei became powerful, the spectacle brought by the Livers' attack became more and more spectacular, and the shouts created by the home fans of Anfield Stadium were wave after wave, as if it were a tireless operation of a machine. The national player Shinji Okazaki, which the Sun's media and fans pay attention to, can only passively defend during this time, coupled with few offenses. Even if he barely runs to the front court, the attack is hastily ended. The second son of the female commentator of J-Sports TV in the Sun country, Yukiko Utana, said depressedly, "Shinji Okazaki has to defend and attack at the same time. He is too difficult." At this moment, Li Qing received a direct pass from Harry Weilerson and stopped and left Ndidi behind. And Biendu's second son's voice became trembling. Li Qing Jun passed Ndidi beautifully. What is he going to do? Marseille slalom. It's so beautiful. Oh. Fake shot true biography, ah. Wonderful. The male fans of the Sun country in front of the TV were just sullen about Shinji Okazaki's poor performance, and then they suddenly became energetic when they heard the excited screams of the female commentator Yujiko. Firmino, who received a pass from Li Qing, used the change of gravity in the box to shake off Hote, who was more than 1.9 meters tall, and when he won the shooting space, he pulled out his foot and shot angrily, and the football rolled against the grass to the bottom left corner of the goal. Little Schmeichel got down fast enough, but Firmino's shot angle was really tricky, and he could only declare that the whip was out of reach. The Anfield Stadium scoreboard showed 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, and the home fans in the audience cheered excitedly, adding to the frenetic home atmosphere. Before the end of the first half, Li Qing suddenly made a long pass on the right flank on the left flank, and left-back Moreno inserted it at high speed, one person and one ball in unison, and he even had extra time to observe the two players vying for position. Moreno, who came into the box from the left, completed an inverted pass before Wag could make up for the defense, and Sturridge scored with his left foot to help home side Liverpool extend the score to 3 goals. So far, even if there are 45 minutes left in the second half, fans watching the game know that the game is no longer in suspense, and the live director switches the camera to Leicester City's meritorious coach Ranieri. He clasped his hands to his chest and stared at the court affectionately, not knowing what he was thinking. At an angle that not many people noticed, the clenched fist nails were pinched into the flesh. BBC guest Linker shook his head and said, "Claudio Ranieri is getting closer and closer to his class. Is this game over?" Still is. Champions League redemption in next week? With 13 rounds left in the league, will Leicester City, who performed miracles last season, complete relegation before the end of the season? But they were only 1 point ahead of the relegation lap. When referee Anthony Taylor blew the halftime whistle, the game had already set the tone as Liverpool won at home to Leicester City and reached the 6th round of this season's FA Cup, which is to advance to the quarter-finals. Liverpool, who had led by 3 goals, played very well in the second half, and Leicester City did not show any spirit of death, and the 3-0 score continued until the end of the game. It is worth mentioning that Li Qing did not play the whole game. He was replaced by Lalana in the 15th minute of the second half. Not that his performance did not meet expectations, but that coach Klopp in order to protect Li Qing. After all, Li Qing had only just turned 16 years old. Letting an underage teenager participate in motivational matches for a long time is not conducive to physical growth, so according to Klopp's idea, Li Qing should play as a substitute as much as possible. It is not impossible to start, but the time should be controlled within an hour. However, the role of the substitute is more obvious than that of the starter.